Morning, and we're looking forward to the week that God has in store for each of us. I hope that you had a great weekend, a great Sunday in the Lord's house. I trust that you were faithful to the place that God has His children to gather to worship Him on His day. And I trust that you make that a priority. It's easy sometimes for us preachers to promote being in church on Sunday, and then it's misunderstood that we just want to build numbers, we just want to increase our attendance or whatever. But the truth is, and the reality is, God has commanded us to not forsake the Lord's house, but to make it a priority. Because it is in God's house where we are able to provoke one another to good works. It's to exhort one another, to encourage one another, to bear one another's burdens. But really, it's an opportunity to love one another. And these cannot happen when we're absent. We just are not able to fulfill that role when we're not with God's people. And then when you stop and you think about the body, how the body works, I mean, if the eyes just decided to not show up today, your body wouldn't function right. If your fingers just didn't show up today, you would be handicapped. If your legs didn't show up, even sometimes more dramatic, if your brain didn't show up, and if your heart didn't show up, your circulatory system didn't show up, and you get the picture. And God uses the local church as He uses the analogy of the body for the local church, and everyone has a part. There are no people in the church that are more important than others. There certainly are those who fulfill certain roles. And in those roles, it'll have a significant effect upon others if they do not fulfill their roles. If the pastor just didn't show up to work, show up to preach, it would significantly impact the church. But he's not any more important. He just has a different role in the body. And everyone has to be doing their part. And when any part of the body doesn't show up, it does to that degree affect the function of the body. And so everyone needs to realize just how important they are and how God has put you in the body. And I'm thankful at Faith Baptist Church that there is a sense of unity, and people have embraced that they have a place, that they have an importance, and that we all want each other there, each service, to be able to do that part and to encourage and to fulfill what God is accomplishing in our church. And boy, it is exciting, and He is doing a lot of incredible stuff. We had over 200 people at the workday on Saturday, and I am a blessed pastor to have a workday and have over 200 people show up to work and show up with a mind to work and an excitement to work. And boy, we got so much done. Well, I'm taking all of my time on a tangent, but I think it's encouraging for people to just realize you are important to your church, and you have a role in the body, and nobody else is able to perform that role like you can. And so therefore, each person is important. Well, in John chapter 21, by the way, I read Deuteronomy 17 to 20 this morning, and if you're reading along with me. But in John chapter 21, we're going to conclude the book of John. And in this incredible book, we find that Jesus is going to deal with Peter. And remember that God was going to greatly use Peter, even beyond what Peter realized that he was going to be able to be used, or to the extent he would be used. Peter was known as the spokesman, oftentimes speaking before engaging his brain. I think we've all been guilty of that. And yet Jesus, by design, knew that he was going to play a major part in the establishment of the local church and the transition from the old economy to the new economy, or the Old Testament system to the New Testament church age system. And Peter had a hard time making the change. I think that's true of a lot of people. Change comes hard and it's awkward and sometimes met with some resistance. And Peter was like that, even though, as we learned in our church Sunday night, at the end of 2 Peter, he recognizes that Paul was the apostle called to this the introduction of the Gentiles into the new covenant, and that all that he taught in his epistles was pertinent and accurate and important, and so he was able to make that. Here in John 21, Jesus is going to put him on the spot, and he's going to say, "Peter, do you love me?" So in verse number 15, so when they had dined, Jesus saith to Simon Peter, "Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me more than these?" And he saith unto him, "Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee." He saith unto him, "Feed my lambs." He saith to him again the second time, "Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me?" He said unto him, "Yea, Lord, thou knowest that I love thee." He said unto him, "Feed my sheep." He saith unto him a third time, "Simon, son of Jonas, lovest thou me?" Peter was grieved because he said unto him the third time, "Lovest thou me?" And he said unto him, "Lord, thou knowest all things. Thou knowest that I love thee." Jesus saith unto him, "Feed my sheep." And then Jesus says these important words, "Verily, verily, I say unto thee, when thou wast young, thou girdest thyself, and walkest whither thou wouldest. But when thou shalt be old, thou shalt stretch forth thy hands, and another shall gird thee and carry thee whither thou wouldest not." This spake he, signifying by what death he should glorify God. And when he had spoken this, he saith unto him, "Follow me." And here's the exchange, and then we'll be done with our focus this morning. The exchange is really, Jesus said, "Peter, do you agape love me? Do you love me with a sacrificial love that you're willing to go through whatever because of that love?" And Peter says, "You know that I phileo love you. I love you like a brother." And he said, "Feed my lambs." And then he said a second time, "Peter, do you agape love me?" And Peter said, "Yea, Lord, you know that I phileo love you. I love you like a brother. You're like a family member." And he said, "Feed my sheep." And then the third time, and many times I think in this exchange, Peter was reflecting back that three times he denied the Lord, and he was grieved in his heart that God, that Jesus had said to him a third time, "Peter, do you phileo love me?" And he said, "Yes, Lord, I do phileo love you. I love you like a brother." Well, Jesus was teaching, and he said to Peter, "Peter, the day's going to come where that phileo love is going to grow into an agape love. And you are literally going to die a sacrificial death. You are going to mature in your faith. You're going to mature in your understanding of my program. You're going to understand better your position and your calling. And I just want you to know the day is going to come where you are going to demonstrate a true agape love. You are going to grow in grace. You are going to grow in your love, Peter. And Peter, like the rest of us, his response, I didn't read it in verse number 20, was basically, I'm going to die a martyr's death. What about John? The beloved disciple. What about him? But Jesus was dealing with Peter, and we know the story that Peter did grow, and he did mature, and he did die a martyr, and he did it without shame. He did it without hesitation because of his agape love for his Savior. And I don't know where you are in your walk with Christ. I don't know if you're just a child. I don't know whether you are very immature in your understanding of God and his program. I don't know where you are in your love for Christ and how deep and intimate it is, or or maybe how shallow it is and how new it is. And, everyone needs to grow. And so there's no sense in berating people for being young or immature in their love or faith. We all were there, and many are still there, and they just need to grow. They just need to see that love mature. And it will, as we walk with Christ and as we grow in our faith to trust him, as Peter did. And just like Jesus said to Peter, the day is going to come that you are going to love me with an agape love. Well, that's true for all of us who are born again. We are going to have that experience. Our love is going to be mature when we see him. But what a beautiful thing to be able to see that mature now, to be working on developing that relationship now. And so let me just leave you with this thought today and this week. Let's nurture our love and let's watch it blossom and develop and to mature, so that God can truly be the center of our affection, the center of our attention. He can truly be preeminent as we seek those things which are above, not on the things of the earth. May God bless you. I'll look forward to seeing you tomorrow.